In this competitive dice roller, there can be only one, like most board games. Choose your immortal from a selection of reprobates and receive starting dice in cunning, power, and influence. During the game, these dice can be permanently or temporarily upgraded. To permanently upgrade them, you will attach a life card to the end there, and you can attach up to 2 of these. The other ways you can upgrade dice are temporarily by being the only person in a location on the main board, and by using quickening tokens for rerolls and upgrades, but these only happen for that current round. And these little chappies are the quickening tokens. You will spend early rounds taking encounter and era cards in an attempt to prepare yourself for duels. To do this, you'll roll a dice for your knowledge value and draw that many cards, choosing one of them, and the rest get put back on the top. So for example, here I roll a 2, I draw 2 cards, keep one, and put the other back on top of the deck. It's worth noting, if you're the only player at one of these 2 locations, you get to upgrade your dice to roll for your number, so you could be drawing lots of cards. Here I draw 6, knock over my immortal, but he's alright, didn't get beheaded. And I would choose 1 and put the rest on the top. The era deck also operates as the timer for the game. When all the era cards run out, you go to the final gathering should there be any people left in the game. All this is to add power and mitigation for the duel. If 2 players end up in the duel area, they will roll their power dice. And the way rerolls work is really nice. The player with the highest number will choose if they want to reroll or not. If they pass, they can't then reroll again. So here the other player has spent 2 to reroll and upgrade. They've still lost, and they get beheaded. So they would be out of the game. Other kind of things that can happen here are the immortal can lose an ally, which is a special card that helps you. I had one that mitigated fake cards, which are the ones on the duel deck. And like I say, should you run out the era cards, you flip over the board to the gathering side, and this is just one duel after duel until there is only 1 player left. So you're working your way through an increasingly shrinking fake card until everyone's been beheaded. Sometimes when you get a game, you just get a feeling. You read the rules, a sense of dread comes over you, and you think it's going to be a real chore to play. Now, the rules in Highlander did give me this feeling. They are by far the worst thing about the game. By far. There are things missing, there are terms that are only used once, so when you try and find them later on to refer to them, then you're a bit stuck. However, the gameplay is actually really solid. We discovered in our first game where one of the players went straight in for the duel and ended up getting beheaded. We let him reset. We had a little rewind moment that you really want to be ready to go to the dueling, because just what dice you roll does not guarantee success. And yes, there is luck in that, but by gaining life cards and improving the dice you have for your power stats, by gaining weapons and by gaining allies, that can all help you in the duel part of the game where you're drawing from that very limited fate deck. So going for a duel becomes a very calculated choice of whether you want to go there, or whether when someone's gone there hoping to thin out the deck a little bit, that you will go there and fight them because you've got a good chance of beating them. So there's a calculated risk there. And when that risk can be calculated in such a way, I don't mind that level of luck in games. The Fate deck itself, where the Behead card is hidden, does feel a little bit like Exploding Kittens, but like I said, there's more calculation to it. You can go into that, into the arena by yourself and discard the top card unless it's the Beheaded card. So now you've made it more likely that someone who goes in there is going to draw the Beheading card, but you've thinned it out. But if you've got the Beheaded card and then you've shuffled them back in, you know there's a good chance it's not going to be on top again. So there's nice little touches like that. The use of dice is excellent, although I'm really simple and I forgot the order of the dice, although the numbers are on them, so that should help you. And you can permanently upgrade or temporarily upgrade them with quickening tokens.
Quickening tokens are really good. They're not actually labelled in the rulebook, but I assume they are quickening tokens because there's only those and the initiative tokens. They let you re-roll your current dice if you spend one, or you can spend more than one to re-roll and upgrade. So having a lot of quickening tokens really helps. The different cards are great. Some cards let you force another player into the arena and possibly go with them. This can be good to force a battle, force a duel. And other cards are really powerful, let you avoid the fate deck. If it's a negative consequence, you can stop it happening. In one of the games we had, I was able to avoid beheading that way, which annoyed my opponent, but felt really good. I'd saved that card till then, and then we worked out that had he done something else, he could have got rid of that card. He just forgot I had it. So there's all kinds of decisions, and yes, ultimately it does come down to the roll of a dice, but the way passing works when you're in a duel is really good too. So if you're in a duel and you both roll a die, the player who rolls the highest number has to choose whether they're going to re-roll first. If they pass, they don't then get to re-roll after the other player's re-rolled. So that's really neat, and it really creates some tension of, I've rolled a good number, but if they upgrade their dice, which they've got the quickening tokens to do, then I could end up losing. So do I just risk it, or do I stick with what I've got? The game is a lot of fun. Now, it's not the best game ever made, and I would be far nicer to it had the rulebooks had that consistency. Another example of this is on the board, the places you place your miniatures in all have powers, but they're not referenced in the rulebook at all, so you just have to use common sense. The miniatures themselves are great, but does this game really need miniatures? Probably not. Does it add to the experience? Well, yeah, it's Highlander. Someone said the heads should be able to come off them, like a bit like the Get Bit figures. That would have been a nice touch. So it doesn't really need miniatures, but having seen the price point of the game, I think you'll be happy to have them, and it hasn't added a lot to the price point. It's still a reasonably priced game. They haven't wasted any space in the box. The insert is used well and actually has storage space underneath, which is something I think more companies should do. So a lot of positives. Having said all that, it's not a game I'm going to want to play all the time. It is a filler game for me, but it is a very fun one with the right group, with the right banter, with people who've seen the Highlander particularly or know of the lore. This game can be a lot of fun. The player elimination aspect generally happens around the same time. You're not going to have to wait more than 15-20 minutes for the game to finish once you're eliminated, and once someone is eliminated, that speeds up the end game anyway, and that's a really nice move. In fact, in most of our games, when someone was eliminated, the end game was the next round anyway. Yes, there's always a chance if you're stupid that you could get eliminated early by a poor choice to go into the arena, and that's just one of the problems you have with games with elimination. So let's go to my ratings. Intimidation factor. Well, it should be low, but because of the rule book, that creates more intimidation, because you're spending time looking for things that aren't actually in there. You have to make some guesswork, and there's just not a nice consistency to the use of language in the rule book. So intimidation factor would be low if it wasn't for the rule book, which is my next rating anyway, and the rule book is pretty bad. Fun, lots of fun. This is where this game scores highest for me. There is a lot of fun to be had in this game. Would I add it to my collection? This would probably just sneak in on account of the push your luck element of it, the dice rolling nature. It doesn't play like King of Tokyo, but it has that similar feeling for me, but it plays quicker and is a little bit faster to set up. And with the right group, which I currently have, then this game would see quite a bit of play. So I would add it to my collection, but it would be very much on the precipice of the being sold out of my collection mountain edge of metaphors that are going far too long. So yeah, ultimately I would add it to my collection, but it doesn't have a very stable place in there. I would play it again, definitely would play it again. Would I recommend it to people? Yeah, actually, for a IP game. I know that IP games are generally getting better and better, but this is actually a nice example of one, if not an amazing one. That is Highlander the board game. You've been watching Board Deck and Dice. Thanks very much, and we will see you next time.